Okay, this is my third attempt. We're spiritual beings, human beings. Now, I should have said human beings first, because look, we live in, as you know, a technological Earth matrix, or a technological world, if you want to look at it that way. Matrix simply means that it's a system and that it's all controlled and set up and etc. So we're human beings in this technological world, and the difference, to put it simply, I think, if I can collect my thoughts, is that a human being is a being in a physical body, but a human being is different to the Earth technological matrix and different to Earth human beings. Earth human beings are the same material as the matrix and the same, they are part of the Earth. So they are, the Earth is technological, they are technological, they are all one, they are whole, they are whole. A human being, I as a human, okay, so I'll just say me, that way I'm not going to upset anyone or cause any sort of controversy. Okay, so I think that I am a human being, but that's just a title. That's just, you have to, I don't know. Because what I described before about human beings of the matrix describes a human being. It's just like saying they are the same material as the Earth. They are technological, like the Earth. But even if you took it to be natural, I don't care whichever way you want to take it. You can take it any way you like. Those that listen know the way it is. But if someone is listening that is from somewhere else, shall we say, because we're all from somewhere else. We're all just trying to, piece it together and try to put it forward as best we can, when we can. A few days ago, I wouldn't have even been able to make a video, It would have been physically impossible. But that's just saying that's why I make them. But no, I don't really know why I make them. I make them as a support for a couple of people, should we say. That's really how I look at it now. There's no point. There's no benefit to this Earth matrix in making them. So it's almost like just having a chat with a few people that I really don't know, but at the same time, because human beings are all connected, but we're connected to the matrix Earth now, but we're not meant to be. We're meant to be connected only to one another. At any rate, I have bungled this up again, as usual, but myself, okay, I'll say myself, okay. This is how I see myself now. It isn't how I've always seen myself, and who knows what the future will hold. But there is no real future anyway. Like I say, oh gee, I've gone off the track again. It's all happening. It's already happened. It's all happening. I find that incredulous too. But that's only because I see it. Because I'm able to pick up. Because I'm detailed-minded, and because the matrix has me in such a grip. It does heighten your senses. It heightens senses, unfortunately, that are negative, that are bad, that are not benefit to you, not good for you, but it also heightens the reality, because that is the reality. So, it's like being aware of a catastrophe, but, you so it brings out fear, which is a negative thing in an already negative matrix. But either way, I'm going off the track here. Human beings, human beings, and that's just a title, because really everything that is in the matrix, it's a bit like saying the earth is filled with lions. They all look like a lion. The earth is covered with lions, with a particular species. But I'm saying some lions are connected to the earth and the matrix, or the earth, and they are the same composition. They're the same material as the matrix. They are earthbound human beings. Earthbound technological human beings, because they're whole. Most of the human beings that are on Earth now are whole. They're complete in themselves. Whereas me, I am separate from myself. I am a non-earthbound human. I am not complete. I am separate from myself. I am almost like a wandering spirit, but that's not true either, because really it's all a reverse. It's like as a human being, you're made to feel, and because your feelings and emotions and thinking contributes to the reality, that is the whole purpose. I'm not getting this right. Most human beings should be complete and whole and one with themselves and one with the earth. Most human beings that are on the earth, in the earth, now are like that. They are whole and complete with themselves. A very few are separate from themselves, disjointed. They don't belong in their body. They're not whole with their body. They are not whole with the earth. This is where the spiritual thing comes in. You're looking at, and that's just a word. All I'm saying is there's differences. I say we are spiritual beings because that differentiates you from someone who is not, or who believes solely in the real world, in the earth, believes in its benefit, believes in its naturalness and its reality and in its life. I do not any longer believe in the earth or life. To me, there is no life. There is only limited spiritual or spirits that are disconnected and not whole because they are living in the earth. but all else is whole and complete. Human beings that are technological in nature, human beings that are of a different substance. See, most in Earth is non-spirit, non-life. The Earth itself is dead. All that is in the Earth is dead. There is no life. Or, if you want to look at it another way, a different form of life. But if you are, the few spiritual human beings that I would see, and when I say few, I literally mean few. I don't mean, like, I'm getting a bit depressive here, I know, but I know I have. And hey, I could be wrong. It's all a fantasy, because it's all not real as for a human being, because it's not life. So therefore, it is just a non-reality. It's really something that is not part, or should be part, or should be connected to a human being, and yet it's being trapped in a technological maze, kind of, because technology is a different form of life, or a non-life, really. If you're a human being, it's non-life, but if you are of the Earth, and if you are, it's a bit like, I can't explain it because I'm not advanced enough in any way to describe those things, so it's really just a concept when I think about it. But it's a bit like, I'm just picking up stuff that I get from other sources, and it can't, anything that passes through my mind, I'll grab it or I'll throw it away. If I see it in my reality, I grab it and say that is, although everything is fantasy, it's a fantasy that I have to deal with. So so it becomes a reality, even though it shouldn't be my reality. There's, like I say, there's a lot of, I've made a few videos, and when I made videos, even in the past, I was kind of clutching at straws, because I knew, you have that, how I mentioned the instinct that I mentioned in the previous video, which I really didn't get to explain very well. It's like you know something, but you can't even prove it to yourself. But if you have instinct, you don't need to prove anything. You just will latch on to, and this is how a human being is meant to be, but see, we are so limited, we don't do this. I don't do it either. I try to, and even I doubt it. You start to cross-think something. Instead of saying, this came to me, this was given to me, I don't need to think about it. If I think about it or rationalise it or look at the world around me, I'm playing in the matrix, and I've already lost what is correct for myself. It's not correct for the human beings of the matrix or the earth, because they belong in the earth. They are connected to the earth. They are earthbound, if you want to look at it that way. You would say, well, isn't everyone earthbound? Well, no. If If you don't think you belong in this earth, then you are not earthbound. If you know it is not really your home and not really your a benefit, or if you're just like me and say it's not a benefit to me, it's a negative realm, and you know that others are, that you have been separated from the earth even while you're here. And this is because of the time period, I would imagine, because, but either way, I'm rambling, and I was going to finish Hotel California, because I didn't finish it, as you know. I only got up to Tiffany Twisted, and then it conked out because I took too long to make the video, because I'm doing like I'm doing now. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and yet it matters everything. It's kind of distressing in that respect for me to realise that it doesn't matter because it's all over. But it does matter. I think it still matters. Look, it matters because it's not about the earth. It's not about human beings. It's not about technology. It's not about technological human beings. It's not about human beings that are connected to one another. I know I've said it in the videos in the past, we're spiritual beings, we're all connected, our thinking creates the reality. Look, this is how it is if this is how it is if you're a whole human being of the earth. But you would probably have to be technological in nature and in your substance, because that is the earth. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm finding it very hard to explain it because it's not something that I can grasp or understand completely. But it'd be a bit like we've all heard this in recent times, and it's something that I'd normally walk away from because it offends me. It offends my senses and offends my concept of me, because I know that it is not me. You know, but some people that are more spiritual than me, much more spiritual and at a much higher level, do believe this, and it is true. They talk in terms of everything being a number, everything being a computer, everything being... And so therefore, yes, they're whole human beings. So what is the problem with some people? Because you and I know that some people are not like that. Most are. 9 out of 10 are. The statistics that I ramble sometimes, because I really don't know, of course, are very conservative. If I say 60, it's more likely to be 90. You know, percent, I mean. But it could even be higher than that because things may not have went to plan. Now, this is just something that I'm making up on the spur of the moment, so take it with a grain of salt. This is how I feel, but it's not based on reality, so it's only based on a feeling. There is a song called More Than a Feeling. Well, that is exactly right. There is more than a feeling. And it's the only thing that counts. It's what differentiates the few from the whole. And I don't know what I'm talking about. But the feeling is the all. The Matrix is all about feeling, all about grabbing feelings, and all about using feelings. And the Matrix is all about acting. The finest acting that you will ever see. And that's why we are in the mess we're in. And I say mess because if I can't tell the difference between myself and a great actor, and in fact, the great actor is delivering more of what is real than what the real is delivering, shall we say, then, it makes, and also where, you're living in a matrix, so you're used to the acting, I'm losing the plot here, to be honest. Losing the plot here. I started out so good, but see, this is the difference between me and those of the Matrix. They're whole. They're complete. They're not real. They're not real. But they appear to be more real. They appear to be more complete. Human beings are, pushed around in the matrix. When I say human beings, like those that are not of the matrix, not of the earth. I know when I started the videos, I said that human beings are connected to all other human beings, and they're connected to the earth and to all life and all animals and different other species that we presume to be in the earth. This is not the reality. As I say, we are not living in a real world. We live in, as I said in the previous video, in the land of the dead. There is no life in the earth. There never has been. Because this is not the real earth. I myself am disconnected because I know this, and because the Matrix knows it, and because you're a different substance to this reality. Yes, there is the feeling and the emotion, yes, that you are connected to life in the Matrix. That's because you are connected, or probably should be connected, or were connected to real life once. Or still are, but are in a different domain now. I don't know what I'm talking about. I really don't. So the beings of the Matrix, or some of them, are more spiritual than myself and those that are related loosely. I say loosely because, you know, I don't fully understand myself. You know, what the numbers are of different people. You know, as I've said before, we have lots of different, you know, supposedly we have lots of different species of animals. You know, like we have dogs. We have dogs in this world, and we have lots of different species of dogs. No, I'm not making the point here properly. I don't know how to make my point. I honestly don't know how to make my point. That's I'm sorry about that. The life is in the blood. The blood is the all. Without the real blood, there is no life. It's an existence. It exists, but it is not real life. But I don't know how to explain that. But it's all in the blood. Life for Roof about the blood, and I have very lightly touched on this, and very few of you know this. You know it because it's been brought to your attention, as it has mine. It's not like I'm getting some sort of revelation from some higher source. You know, it's what I see in the reality. It's a bit like I was saying about the, we mentioned vampires. Well, that's right. You have, you have human beings that, you have more than, you have human beings of different levels in their mentality and in their psychopathy, in their psychology, all these sorts of things, as we know. And that's only part of the earth. I'm not going to bore everyone by going into details here because, one, I don't understand it enough, and two, it's suffice to say that because it's a closure period, and I don't know why I say that, because it's already happened, but it's already happened, but it's all about this world now is only really, in my view now, only really about, and this is the problem, and this is why obviously I'm in a dilemma, as they say, and a bit distressed. Look, every day the revelation hits me more, and it's a revelation in the sense that it's a realization, not a revelation. It's a realization of my reality. I don't have to be clever to figure it out. It smacks me in the face every day. There are some denominations that talk about these mind parasites attacking, or the possession, or the imminent threat of possession. This is because of the desperation of the humans, of the humans of the earth trying to hang on to their reality and infuse it with life because it's a dead reality and because it's dying and because it has went its span, because its span has finished, because its span was closed many years ago. Many years ago in my time, but not in real time, because I don't live in real time, because I don't understand time, and because I'm convoluted, because I'm in Earth. So time is I can see that time has happened, but I'm still living in the slow time, so that makes it very hard. But it's only like a glimpse, though, because we're closed down. If we were at a different level, I think we'd see things much clearer. In fact, we would be able to manipulate things more. We've lost our power to manipulate or to have any input into the matrix, whereas the humans of the matrix, the real humans of the matrix, the real humans of the matrix, the real technological humans of the technological matrix, because it's all like that. Some people are spiritual in the sense that they believe that is the whole. There are some, I only learned this not very long ago because, I listen to other videos too at times, and and the Matrix had me for quite a long time. Even after the Matrix closed down, shall we say, on me, then you're searching for reasons for that. And then you go to the Matrix demigods to tell you the truth, because they will, and picking... I don't like to talk on other people, because it's not fair to talk on other people's spirituality or what they consider to be their spirituality or their beliefs. I don't know the words I'm using. I'm saying spirituality and beliefs and their ideas that they think are the true reality. I honestly say I don't have a firm concept of it, but I don't believe most of the other concepts that I am presented with. I choose not to. I know that they don't fit me. I feel they don't fit me, and I'm prepared to back my feeling and emotion on that. If I'm wrong, I lose. That's all it comes down to. And it's funny because I sit here and I say this is a technological, artificial, if you like, matrix. They're the only words I can use to describe it. Now, some people might say, well, isn't everything that then? Because if the earth is that, everything should be that. And that's a very valid point. And it's something that I find hard to get my head round to even think about it, but I really try these days to do it because I have to. Because if you're trapped in something, you have to think about it. It's like that, And I think the way out is really not to think about it, but that's part of the trap of the matrix. I say it's a trap because it is about getting life from human beings to keep the matrix going. Because the matrix has died. But don't forget that, some people might say it's died. And I honestly don't know. I only know it's dead. My own, my own idea on that would probably be that it's always been dead. The earth that we have, that we live in. But when I say always, that always is not really always. I just mean the existence of what we have now. The earth we have now, in other words, is not real and is dead. There is no life in it at all. Apart from how should I describe it? I can't describe it. Apart from life spirits, if you like, that are still here, or that have, as some may have done in the past, I do not know, this came to I think there's some sort of thing I heard when I was young about how you could have 1,000 sheep, but one gets lost, and you forget about the 1,000 and go and get the one that's lost. And that is what happened many years ago. But the lost sheep is still here, and if you have a lost relative and you go searching in an Arab land, strange land, a primitive land, a land that is in opposition to everything you are, or everything that you think is, the way things naturally should be, then, you probably will not be successful. But I suppose one should sorry about that. The matrix is making my eyes water, as you can probably see. I hope it doesn't come out on video. It probably will, because my video phone has a reasonably clear picture. Apart from when, to be honest, I have very occasionally glanced back at old videos to see what the picture quality was like, to see what I was dishing up to the few that listen, shall we say. And, I have been horrified at times to see, and it has been pointed out to me too, but it didn't have to be, because I was aware of it. At the time, I put it. Of course, you see, I play in the Matrix too, and I play with the false reality. And I at times succumb to the false reality and believe it to be true, which shows you how the Matrix can get you and how consumed we are by it, which is understandable, because if you're born into it, or you think you're born into it, or everything that is in your mind is only of the Matrix, you don't have any knowledge of anything else or any awareness of anything else. I'm sorry I got cut off with that thing, but I don't know where I was going with that, really, to be honest. I just felt somehow a bit overwhelmed by it. I don't really know why. Maybe you do. Maybe I do a bit, but it's not something that I've been aware of all my life. So I'm reluctant to push it in a video, some things. And that, I've completely lost track here, haven't I? Oh, goodness, great. Oh, something just hit me in the eye there, I think. Oh, dear. Sorry about this. But it's much better than a few days ago. I actually wouldn't have been able to make a video, like I say. So the Matrix is, where was I? I'm just going to throw things here. This video was supposed to be about the Hotel California and be consistent. Look, I do just see it as a conversation now, a chat. It's just that if you're not, that's why I say technology, this Matrix world, even in making a video, it's not natural, and it's not a benefit, and it's not the best way to do things. You lose a lot. You might get something out of listening to me. You might, but you're still going to lose most of what I'm trying to get across. And just the mechanism, the way I'm doing it, the reality that there is no real physical contact. Yes, I know the body has been depleted in this reality, so therefore even that is limited. So even at a physical level, human beings lose everything in this reality. Now, I don't fully understand that. Maybe one day it'll come to me, but I don't fully understand it, because I've already said just at the beginning of this video that we are not the same as we're not the same as human beings that are connected to the earth. We're not complete. We're separate. We're separated. You would say, well, that makes us inferior, doesn't it? Somehow, to the Matrix. Well, if you are of the Matrix, that is the case. But I would say, I don't feed off the Matrix. The Matrix feeds off me and you. So although they are complete, they are still lacking. I don't need the human beings. I only need them because I'm in a matrix and you're under mind parasitic, attack, if you like, all the time. You're always in danger of being possessed. That's why I mentioned, I'll get back on track here about the videos, how, when you look at some of the videos, particularly I think when I was going live, but at the time I put it down to, because I think that when I make these videos now, when I'm not going live, which I think is a pity, but the videos seem to be clear, whereas in the videos when I was going live, there would be, everything would go out of focus. Now, look, this could just be I at the time put it down to malfunction of the computer or the technology, or that I did, but at the same time, I did see it as, when I actually looked at it, I did see it as attack. Because we're in a technological domain, so it is possible to for that to happen, I would think. So what I'm trying to say is, even if I'm making a video, because I'm not at high frequency or high vibration, and I'm not at any time, but I still might be slightly lower or higher depending on what I'm thinking about, what I'm talking about, or how I'm feeling while I'm making the video. It's all about the feelings and the emotions, and that is all it is. That controls the reality, that controls even the making of the video. So if I slip in my vibration, even though I should be at a reasonable vibration, knowing that I should be connected to another human being, or at least one that is of like mind in some ways, maybe, that really doesn't seem to happen. Also because I wasn't sure who I was talking to when I made those videos in the past anyway. I was clutching at straws in making a video even. Now I feel a bit more... sorry about that, a bit more of the mind that that there are a few people who are of like mind, shall we say, in their thinking about this reality, and even just in their distaste of what the reality really consists of. Because yes, it is a covert reality as well as a physical one that presents itself a certain way. But it's clean on the surface, but very dirty underneath. It is filthy underneath. It is vile underneath. Because, the reason for that is because it is the domain of beings that are essentially psychopathic and insane in their very nature. If you compare to what you think, a human being or a spiritual being, if you like, should be and is, despite attacks by the Matrix, despite the continual threat of possession. See, like, to me, when you see the picture break up like on my video, and look, this may or may not be true, by the way, so do take it with a grain of salt, because I do not understand the full reality. The dog's moving around quite a bit over there, so, he is of the Matrix, but he is still maliciously attacked by the Matrix, which is interesting. See, that is the Matrix, and that is the human beings of now, how they are. They are attacked, but they also attack, which is really strange, because I myself, I'm attacked, but I don't want to attack just blindly anything that is around me, and I don't, I don't want to attack those that are the same as myself. But in the Matrix, the humans now, because they have let their mind become split by all this, and it's easy to do, that in fact that is the purpose of the Matrix for myself and for everyone. It is to disorientate you, to completely split your mind. And it succeeds often. It succeeds with me. And the possession is always imminent, always threatening, and you can have possession, but most humans or people of the matrix, and I stress of the matrix, of the earth, that belong on the earth, in the earth, they do not fight possession. They invite possession. They make their body a comfortable home for possession. They know what is a comfortable home for possession. A normal human being's body shouldn't be a comfortable home for possession of another being. That is why, just come to me now. This is no way to make a video, I know. Hot and cold, you can see how the matrix runs me ragged, like hot and cold. Happy and sad. Attack 1 minute, upset 1 minute, mildly coherent the next. It's just a continual battle. That is just at a personal level. That is just at a personal level. But of course, it is at that level because the matrix is physical and all around and continually threatening, continually prodding, continually poking, continually surrounding, continually harassing, continually stalking, if you like. It is the mind parasites stalk a human being in reality and at a mental and psychological level. That's because we're where it's very pronounced at this time. So, like I say, a lot more is exposed, and a lot more that was covert is now overt and exposed and out in the open, at least for some of us. Not for everyone, because if they can get you to play to where you are still playing in the matrix, but still playing against your own, in other words, if I'm playing against my brother and sister, then there's no need for the matrix to expose itself because you're working and playing for them anyway. It's a game where you must play for the matrix. The matrix, the matrix is a survival mechanism, a technological maze. Like I say, it's not a real world, but it's I don't know how to describe it. It's like I say, there are some people. Oh Jesus, these videos are going. Oh dear. I should keep on one little subject. Now look, this was pointed out to me quite a while ago. Like I say, if you think that this earth is natural, if you think this earth is technological, if you think that this earth is what it is and you think it is real for you, then you are a technological human being, and you are whole and are one with this world. And you believe that everything else is the same. So everything, if you want to look at it this way, because I don't understand it, just say we're talking about different materials. Say one is water. I don't know what I'm talking about here, really. Must bear with me and turn it off if it's too ridiculous, because it really is, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But like if one substance is, say, water, because I only know what I know from my conditioning, okay? So I don't understand the true reality of the actual composition. But let's say it's everything. If something is water and something else is fire, that's just an example. But it makes no sense because it's not relevant. It's what you call an example, but it has no validity. So don't take it serious. But if one thing is water and one thing is fire, then again, water can put fire out. See, I diverted automatically. That's how ridiculous I am. But but if you assume, say, that all the earth is water, and that all that is in it is water, that all humans are water, say, I'm not saying they are. This is just an example because I can only think of a substance. In other words, everything is technology, okay? What I would term technology. Then it's reasonable to think that also, if you think the earth is technology, then everything, and everything else is technology, that even at, if you want to call a spiritual level, I don't like to go there in this thing, but what am I talking about? I don't want to go there, but I am there, so it's real. So there's no point in me beating about the bush, as my father used to say, that means mucking around and pretending that I don't know something that I do think. So I suppose that is stupid. But it's just that I don't feel that I have enough on it. I don't feel that. It's almost as though you don't feel worthy of saying that you are connected to those that have been before, or a few that have been before. That were more pure in understanding things and in setting about their task of taking, the lost black sheep home, shall we say. Like if I was, I'm going to be fancy here, but like if I myself was a shepherd and I've come here to pick up my lost black sheep, what's happened is I've become the lost black sheep. That's what's happened in this reality. I'm laughing, but it is not funny. We're supposed to be, like I say, I've said this before, animals shouldn't hurt their own kind. They shouldn't, but, and they don't intend to. It's like as though they, like when I think of my own life, like I know that so many things that I've done have been so wrong. And that if, I'm sitting here now feeling very bad about making videos, very bad about every single thing. And the reality is showing me that. Because so you bring yourself down if you don't be as you are, what you're meant to be. If you behave like those of the Matrix, you live your life like the Matrix, because the Matrix and the mind parasites and the possession takes place. It takes place, and you. The only difference I think between this has just come to me now, and I hope it's so. The only difference between the whole technological beings of the earth and the disconnected spirits that appear in human form on the earth. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked by the technologically possessed dear blind old dog over there. I mean, even that, I've got sidetracked again, but that's just an example of the Matrix, of possession. And, see, I could say, and that maybe the possession of the dog took place because the dog's body was ravaged so much, and but I know that that is not the original body, but if it was, it would be like possession can take place because the body has been allowed to deteriorate so much. And therefore the animal is unhappy. So that's an open gate for possession, as it is for myself and any real life force. But, I think that some bodies are, like I say, a comfortable place to habitat for a dark, dead spirit, if you want to look at it that way. Or the Archon mind parasites. If you allow possession of your body, you also allow possession of your mind. So it's an Archon mind parasite. That means it's a technological spirit of the matrix, a dark spirit of the matrix. I use the word spirit. I'm foolish with the use of words that I use, because if I use spirit for one and then use it for some human beings and then don't for others, it gets confusing. And you should be clear if you're making videos on these things. That's the problem. Once again, I apologise for that, but oh dear. What I am going to say is this. I think that there are some, very few, now remaining, whose body has not been changed by the matrix. So therefore there are more comfortable homes available for the earth matrix technological beings that are putting this right, to cohabitate a body. And cohabitation is welcomed by some people, by some humans, because they are not of the life blood. They are of the technological earth. Because what is natural is really technological in this world. It's just that we don't understand how nature works in the earth. And like I say, some people who are very highly spiritual, because I've listened just a little bit to some of these people, and a bit like, I mentioned this before, when I first started making the videos, I was left a comment, because I didn't know anything then, really. I only knew I was making videos to try to show some people, or just hoping to contact some people. I didn't, in my wildest dreams, think that I would actually be making videos to anyone that fully understood anything. That to me is, well, that's something that I didn't expect. Because I assumed there's so many people, and you chance, so it's interesting. Well, it's not interesting. Maybe there's more to it. That you know, I make a video and lucky to get a few people to listen, but maybe the few that listened are the right connection, if you know what I mean, because the odds on that even, to me, even when I was making videos, I'm like, oh, I just want to point out some negative things about the world to people, so hopefully at a real level they might change things, so basically my life might be a bit better, but actually there's no way that is going to happen, because I had no idea even when I started the scale. I knew the scale was, every day that went past I knew the scale of what was going on was not a local thing but was a worldly thing, but it's, you know, but what is in your local is still mainly what affects you, so you, but to realise that it's at a whole earth level, everything happening, that really means that the odds of you rectifying it, because obviously I see it as faulty. It's faulty because it's negative for me, you see, so naturally I see it as faulty. Other human beings don't see it as negative for them, so they don't see it as faulty because it hasn't hit them yet. My whole purpose in making the video was to show that maybe it will hit them too, because it's a bit like the possessed dog over there. He is possessed, so he is of the Matrix, and he operates, shall we say, for the Matrix, and operates against me and against, you know, those that are like me. Shall we say, I would imagine, but obviously he's only with me. So, but the Matrix still, you know, attacks him. He's been attacked on the street. He's had seizures, and he's now can't even walk down the street like he used to be able to 6 months ago. You know, so it's been so even low. So you know, the Matrix rewards, but also defeats its own in a funny kind of way. But I don't understand why that happens, but I think it's, like I say, a mindset and a mentality that is a negative chaos, as I've said before. I don't know why I said that, but I think I said that in the previous video, that negative chaos is insanity. Positive or life chaos is what keeps the world still alive, or from descending into the chaotic, negative, insane, dead reality that we are actually in. I don't know if that made sense. Because if you have, because you can have, I would imagine you could have, like, and this has just come to me, and this come from, this actually is picking up on what Sean, one of the, Sean Thomas Yearwood, he's someone that watches. Selwyn was what he was originally, on the, what do you call it, the thing. But anyway, you know, I'm allowed to say that, so I say it, because I'm very reluctant to do these things, because I've always kept the videos as impersonal, but I find that the only way you can explain things is by being personal and saying, and look, you know, if I wasn't dealing with unreasonable, neurotic, psychotic people in the reality, you know, I would have no fear about saying anyone or anything, because look, it's such a, if the Titanic is sinking, you know, it's not time to be arguing about whether to get into the lifeboat. You just grab your own and get in, and yet it's not happening like that. It is very much like that old scenario which the Matrix probably throws up, where a lot of people, including myself, because because negative chaos is created as opposed to positive chaos, where you think and are able to maneuver according to a situation. That's why a lot of people will go down with the ship, and a lot of people want to go down with the ship because they think that the ship is the Matrix, the Earth. They can't separate from it, and they don't want to, and they can't. I mean, so some of them can't because they are of the Earth. They belong in the Earth. It's their world. It's only if you don't want to belong in that, or if you don't really belong in it, because it may not even be, like in my case, it may not be a case of what you want. It may just be shown to you that it's a reality, that you're not part of it, that you've been under an illusion all your life that you are part of this earth. And the earth now is showing it to you, showing it to me that I'm not part of it, because it's alienated me. It's shown me that it doesn't like my material. It doesn't like my lifeblood. It merely sees it as something to use and to consume for its sustenance, shall we say. But it doesn't like it. And it resents the need for it too, for that matter, because if you are of a matrix and you are a superior human being, or what you consider to be a superior human being in the matrix, you resent that fallibility, because a real human being doesn't really have that fallibility. They think they do, and we're all in that fear mode to where we're fearful of that, as I am. That is part of the matrix, to make you fearful, so that you feel fallible that way, that you don't feel, you have, the matrix wants a human being to feel its fear, all its anxiety, all its weaknesses. It doesn't want a real life human being to see itself as part of something else, or that it doesn't need the earth. It wants, like myself, to feel very much in need of the earth. In my reality, I'm continually, like even at the present time, you might be stressed if you can't, if you can't buy something, or if you can't get something you need. You think you need it. The matrix has convinced you that you need it. That's my reality. But I'm aware that it's not how it's meant to be. That I was saying, to be of this earth, to be in this earth but not of this earth. That really is the case but it's not true for everyone. And it is a choice. And like I say, if you are like, oh dear, I feel quite ill actually. See, talking about this matrix actually makes me sick. So I only do it to share, because it's a bit like maybe one or two that listen. It's a comfort to know that there's someone else that feels the same way about it, because, talking about the matrix and thinking about it all the time, because the matrix wants you to think about it all the time. The matrix wants you to feel the matrix all the time. The matrix wants you to see the matrix all the time. It never wants you to see anything else, or to feel anything else, or to be aware that there is anything else, or that you don't need it, or that you are, that you're whole in yourself. Like I say, a human being doesn't feel whole in the matrix, because a human being can't be whole in a matrix unless, I would imagine, they are that one human being that is able to rise above the earth and the matrix and be not of matrix or not of the earth, and also not of its people, which is interesting because, yes, you are supposed to be here amongst the people, but you are really looking for the black sheep. And that's what you don't know. You think you're looking for all sorts of things, and certainly people are looking in a funny kind of way. Human beings, they look for relationships and different things like that. They don't realise that that's really just looking for the lost sheep. But it isn't like there's a lot to pick from. There might be more because, there may be, for some people there may be no sheep lost that are left for them to collect, shall we say, if you want to look at it that way. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I really don't. I seriously really don't. Like most of the time I say it's a fantasy, so you can take some from it, but today that last bit I really am completely unsure of what I'm saying there. It could be nonsensical completely. I don't know why I'm saying it, but so I don't know fully what the differences are between different people. I mean, it's a bit like, we all know that you have relatives. When you get married, that's not your relative. That's not your blood. But you may combine with that blood to produce a different blood. I don't know what I'm talking about here. But it's not your blood directly. The blood's just an example of your kind, okay? That's just an example I'm using. It's a bit like saying those that are the same blood as yourself are your closest relatives. So they're the closest to you at a physical and a mental level. We all know that. That's a fact even at a matrix level. I mean, I suppose what I'm trying to say is, are you meant to separate from your own blood and mingle with another blood to produce a person? Or are you meant to, or are some blood types not as compatible? That's what you call looking for your soulmate or your partner, or you base it on love, but there could be a physiological component to it as well that you're not aware of. Maybe some societies, some cultures might lean more this way and some may not. I do not understand this. This is just coming from myself, but I do know that I have learned just very recently that some cultures do lean more this way. Some parts of the world, because we're all different parts of the world. People have different ideas about what is compatible, what isn't, what is the basis of compatibility. Because obviously if you're going to mix with other people a lot, like it's not like, like I say, there's, like if you're, And, you know, is that not what humans are meant to do, or what people are meant to do? We're meant to really mix with others instead of, like, even myself, actually sometimes becoming more of a loner after realising that compatibility is not always what you think. But also, you know, there again, it depends on how you deal with it too. If you expect too much, and if you really expect that it's possible to have total compatibility in this earth now, I would say it's not possible. Myself, this is only my own personal opinion here, by the way, so it may or may not be so. May or may not be so. So I would say, like I've said before, that you're always dancing with the devil. In other words, most relationships are going to be where you are dealing with people that are totally incompatible with you, but you will still deal with them because it's better than nothing, or because you have to. You're obliged to, or you feel compelled to. And also, if the matrix is coming down very hard, you do feel isolated, so you don't want to... you know, you basically just, to put it bluntly, I myself would have to say that I am too weak and not strong enough mentally and physically and emotionally to stand alone against a matrix. That's just putting it bluntly. That's why I've said checkmate, and some people get upset by that, and I don't blame them for getting upset. Sean gets upset by it, and I don't blame him. But I will say this. You know, it is checkmate. When I say checkmate, that is only a checkmate of you know, see, I did try to explain it in my own stupid way, and my airy-fairy, and in my thing with the chessboard that was down the road, that had one side up and one side largely pushed over and then changed to where some got up. But then the actual checkerboard, which is the game plan on which you play on, had been removed. And you see, that's the point with that was just trying to show that it's already been played. That's why the chess, even the game plan, has been removed. There is no game plan now. It's all chaos, negative chaos, by those that are left, largely, apart from maybe a few that are a positive chaos. And they are playing against the negative chaos, but they are not playing on a proper playing field. The playing field the game has already been played. The playing field has been ripped away by better than us in the past. And so we are just now left because you can't get rid of real life. So there's a few left that think they're still playing, but they're really not meant to be playing. They're just meant to be picking up the black sheep, if there's any left. And then it is over and finished. From the life perspective. But it's not over for the life. It just means that it's over, their earth is over, and that whole reality is finished. But we don't accept that, and we're muddling up. That's why, like myself, I'm fighting phantoms and playing, and it's all chaos, because Matrix is desperately throwing everything it can in this last game, or this last scenario, at the life forces, to try to keep them here and playing, so that they're so that they're not, so that it's not finished, I would think, even though it really already has finished. I don't think I'm making sense. It makes no sense at all, does it really? Of course, you see, I suppose, yes, I suppose the reason is, I suppose the reason we're still here and still playing in an artificial, false world, in a dead world, playing in the land of the dead, because, well, we were meant to, some of us were meant to pick up some lost black sheep, and we don't know which, and we don't know, instead we're picking up the false black sheep of the Matrix. That's what I do. I can't tell the difference, because they're better actors than myself and any that is real. Real in the sense that if you're a spiritual human being, you're real, but anything else isn't. It's a different life form, if you want to put it that way. I'm supposed to do the Hotel California. Oh, and the sun's down, and I'm going to be in big, big, big trouble. The Matrix is going to really hit me hard. Oh dear, dear, dear. See, this is not how you're supposed to be living. You see, that's right. So if you've even got a little bit of life left in you, if you haven't got, and like I said before, possession cannot take place in some bodies. In a perfect human body, this is only my own view, so I could be way wrong. I have to say this. I'm just guessing. It's what I think. I'm guessing, but it's what I do think. I don't think possession can take place in a perfect human body, okay? But I think possession can take place in, yes, a desecrated temple or a desecrated body, as all of ours are. Some of it is our own fault. Some of it is because we are just surrounded by it and find it impossible to not have the body desecrated. But then again, we, as was left a comment to me, you're being tested, so most of us fail that test. Like you're not, like myself, I do allow quite a lot of possession. I do succumb to it, and I do, because the Matrix has mentally stressed and defeated me mentally and made me depressed. Just the existence of the Matrix makes me depressed. Even if it wasn't attacking me, I would be a little down. But without attack, in other words, without the imminent threat of possession all the time and negative forces around you all the time, negative people, negative scenarios, negative situations, negative personalities, and being aware of that threat. Like it's one thing to have a serial killer stalking you. but it's another thing to be aware of it. If you're not aware of it, you know, to some extent, you know, even if that serial killer gets you, you know, up to that moment, you're still going to be of a reasonable vibration. And that is why the Matrix exposes itself too, because some people are not generally frightened. You know, we live in a fear kind of society or world anyway, but to some extent, some people will not buy into that fear as much. So that's when the Matrix says, well, you won't buy into our false earth, shall we say, or a false scenario. So we'll make it real. We'll make it a reality. You know, it will be. You will need the. You know, you'll need to be at such a high level to ignore what is in your face. You know, like I would think that it would be rather hard for someone to not feel fear if someone is coming right at them in a threatening manner, shall we say. And especially if it's continual, because then you're you know, I mean, like myself, I personally in the past have been able to, you know, and I say this in a positive way for once, because most of my videos are negative, but in the past I have dealt with reality where for a short period of time I've been under great stress, and what should psychologically shock you and bring you down. And I myself haven't succumbed as much as some people, because the Matrix does want you to succumb and be very stressed by relationships, by personal threats, by psychological threats, by threats. You know, it sets up a whole lot of things. I mean, you have to disregard, the body is very important, but you have to disregard some violations of it in some ways. It's violated all the time, 24/7. So sometimes we jump onto one or two things, you know, and it's not that relevant in a way. Once you... But like I say, living in the past too, that just keeps you down. You have to always move on. You have to let everything go. If everyone in the world let everything go, which is not easy, and I don't do it either. Like, I do not. I mean, I can carry on the anxiety. I mean, sometimes I can let a one-off thing go very easy. Matrix doesn't actually like that, but I can let a one-off thing go. But if something, that's why the Matrix comes down on some people and bombards them 24/7, because they know that person who's the one-off thing will not carry that anxiety or that memory or that incident, won't carry that with them to the grave and live their existence on that. So therefore the Matrix has to bombard that person 24/7 or all the time for that reason, because they know, whereas a lot of people will be stressed by events. And, you know, you often hear of that, don't you? We're told that even on our screens and things. Oh, you know, like this is a terrible thing that happened to that person. It psychologically damages them for life. This is terrible. This is the end of their world. This is the, you know, and really that is not really the truth. As a human being, if you're a real human being, of course you are affected by things, but if you realise that it's the... well, I didn't realise this. In the past, I didn't know I was in an earth that was like that. But maybe I just thought, well, if something happens once... If a bad incident happens to me once in a lifetime or twice in a lifetime, that's awful. And you think, oh, perhaps it shouldn't have happened. That's because you're under the delusion that you're meant to be in some sort of perfect world where nothing bad happens. And of course, if you weren't in a matrix, nothing bad would happen. That's actually the joke of it. It's actually true, because it's all, you know, it is a staged, you know, mind parasitic, controlled reality. So that is what there is. The minute you think that you can be whole in this reality, a real human being can never be whole in this reality. Only the humans that are of the earth can be whole in this reality. But unfortunately for them, their time is limited. So that is why they attack human beings, or real human beings, because they are of a different, because the earth span is limited, because it is a matrix type thing. I don't know what I'm talking about here. And because it's already, the awareness of this has already taken place. See, I make these videos, when I first made the videos, under the misapprehension, or under the idea at least, I think it's a misapprehension maybe now, but when I first made them, that the whole purpose of making a video was to make other people aware of what I think I'm aware of, and that most people are in the dark and don't know, and if they knew what was controlling them, and that there were negative forces working against them all the time, and that they were under imminent threat of possession and all this sort of stuff all the time. But I didn't even think that so much. I just thought that if they were aware that there were negative controlling forces around them, even in the form of their fellow human beings, shall we say, that they would, that it would help me, and that it would mean that then, the earth, or the matrix, or the God entity that controls the matrix and its beings and its disciples and things, wouldn't have such an upper hand. They wouldn't have total dominion. They wouldn't push you around quite so much. You would have more of a choice, because while you're not aware that this is the case, that you're being influenced, or that you're being taken over in some way, whether it be mentally or physically, while you're not aware of that, you almost don't have a choice. And I think that you're entitled to a choice to make a decision based on what the reality is, or at least to know what some of it is. Whereas all the choices I've made, and most people make, are based on what they think the reality is. But if you think that when you're attacked that it's just an accident, and that there was no intent behind it, it's like you see people loitering. You see someone loitering on the street, as they say, or lurking around. And you think that's just like yourself, because if I was loitering or lurking around, it would just be because I was tired, or I've stopped. But I have no intent. So I'm not loitering with intent. And that was a book, by the way. That's where I got it from. I just picked these titles up because if they make sense, I'll put it into the thing to use it for the purpose of explaining what the reality is. You can loiter just freely and not care about what's around you, and others loiter with intent. They're loitering with the intent of doing something. There's a difference. They may be loitering watching you. They may be loitering to hoping for possession, hoping to drain your energy, hoping to get some sort of feedback out of you, because it makes them then feel important or special, or makes them feel alive, because they are more, dead people do love to prod live people. It gives them a buzz, as shall we say, because it's a bit of a bully mentality, but we live in a bully matrix in a way. The bully kind of likes to upset the other person because the bully feels dead and insignificant and is distressed in some way. They enjoy bullying another life force or another life form or another person because even though that person might have just as many problems as them and might not be, they still they just sense that person might be fighting it better. Most of the matrix succumb to the matrix. They accept a dead earth. They think it's a natural earth, but they prefer an unnatural earth. They accept that and they like that. And they don't like, they resent it if they see someone that fights that. Because a real human being will put up a little bit of a fight to still keep their life. They'll still be trying to raise that vibration a bit. They'll be trying to feel a bit better. A real human being doesn't want to feel miserable all the time. That's unnatural for them. And like myself, it brings you down and, you can take it a little bit, but you have to be able to, see a little bit of life or feel a little bit of life yourself, Some people, because the matrix, it is very tempting at this time to want to numb yourself from the matrix because it is overbearing and is frightening. That's something that we all could be tempted to do. I'm not sure how I do that, so I can't be tempted. But I wouldn't like to be because, yes, it would be tempting. And I think some people find ways to numb themselves from the reality. But that only means that the matrix will have more the upper hand, though. That's the problem. It's a bit like if you drink too much, and you get drunk, you become oblivious to the reality, good or bad, but you become oblivious to it while you're drunk. But, the matrix enjoys that because while you're drunk, you are not, you're not doing anything positive. You're not doing, you may not be doing any harm, but you won't be doing something good for yourself, and you won't be, you may or may not be able to connect, with the correct other person to, like I say, you have to piece all this together, that you're in this playing field, if you like, where all the rules are removed and you don't know what the game is. And you don't even know that it's been played and why it's been played and who's played it for you and what. You don't know where you come from. You don't know where you belong. You're alienated at this present time from the earth. It is not your natural domain. Some, like myself, thought the idea was to change it. That is another question. But maybe that is overstepping the mark, I now think, but I don't know. Because how can you change something if there is so few left that have that wanting to do so, and they're surrounded by negative people, negative earth, that see unnatural as normal and natural, and that believe that the earth and everything in existence is unnatural, or is technological even, if you like. So if you come from that belief or that idea, which I obviously don't accept, but who knows? But if you do come from that idea, then you would say that technology is just as spiritual as all the baloney that I say. See, so it is it does depend on what you think is the reality. And I've lost myself there. Hotel California. Oh dear. Oh, Hotel California. Okay, I'll just try and finish up. Where was I? I left the video at the end of Hotel California. I should be folding up here actually because it's too late to start on that, but I'm going to throw a little bit in. You'll just have to bear with me and say, hey, go to the song. You probably understand it better than me anyway, but I just do this as as some sort of reinforcement. I don't know what I'm even reinforcing sometimes, but yeah, I left it on. Where was it? There she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell. I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. There she stood in the doorway. That's the femme fatale. That is the matrix goddess alluring you in, as I say. That is, the femme fatale. It will take you into the dead matrix because it's a dead Hotel California, but it appears to have all the goodies. So you notice that because, welcome to the Hotel California. We're living it up at the Hotel California. They're living it up at the Hotel California. They're having a whoop of a time right now even though the matrix has closed. It's almost closed its gates. It's still party time for those of the matrix because they're negative and chaotic, and they'll dance even as they're going down, as the ship is sinking, if you know what I mean, especially if they see that they are causing distress for others, but also they're sustaining their life still even in the dying stages because they're draining the human being. You've got nothing to lose if you're dead to be grabbing onto and squeezing the life out of any life that's around you. It's kind of sad in a way if you think of it that way, but it's also diabolically negative if you are that life force that is being squeezed. So, one can, you can have sympathy. Or as the song goes, there is a song called Sympathy for the Devil. And this is largely of the Matrix too. There is great sympathy for negativity. There is great sympathy and, yes, bring your alibis, like in the Hotel California. What a surprise. Bring your alibis. They've all got their alibis. We've all got our alibis for why we behave negative, for why we harm or cause distress, for other life sources. It's like you still want to believe in life? No, you must be like us, dead. There's resentment there. I just felt that resentment just this second. And it's a desperate, like I say, you can, like that song, you can, it was called Sympathy for the Devil. That was Interview with a Vampire, that movie. Interview with a Vampire. That's right, a human vampire. It makes it clear in these movies, like, I believe the fantasy of the movies. And, if you buy into your own justification for why you are negative and why you are dead and why you are angry at someone or something, you've turned your back on your life source. because you bought too much into the matrix. Because, you know, really, everything, if people, I personally think that that is because you buy into the trauma of the matrix, you buy into the circumstances, you buy into the hatred of other humans that are also traumatized by the matrix. It's a continual cycle, really. It's a cycle of brainwashing us into always being negative. And eventually that negativity allows for the possession of really negative beings that are a negative technological life force. And you cohabitate with them because there's a sympathy for the devil. Yes, there's a sympathy for the anxiety, for the hatred, for the anger, for the resentment, for the bit. There's a sympathy there. You know, you don't relate to a human that wants to try to change things, or who wants to get the life back, or who wants to say, look, let's forget it, let's turn it round, we can, you know, we can do this. No, they're not interested in that. They're like, we'd rather wallow in our own sympathy for ourselves and for the devil, and for, you know, that sympathy for the devil is like sympathy for the negative technological beings, for the negative earth, sympathy, and it's easier. It's easier because now that we're in this end thing, there's more, you know, the overwhelming, vast majority, you know, are of the unnatural earth. So therefore, no one wants to be alone in trying to light that candle, or trying to be that matchstick in the dark, as I said in the old video. I've gone a lot. This video makes no sense at all. It's convoluted. But that's only because the matrix is, you know, has affected me, and it's like getting too much stimulus from you shouldn't have as much stimulus as what I'm getting, but it's all negative stimulus too, you see. So for me to keep my thoughts straight and to keep them along the life force is rather hard, and most people just give up that ghost, as they say. So they allow possession, and they feel comfortable with the possession, you know, common sympathy. A bit like myself, like I said, you know, you feel very very isolated and very lonely. And it is true that you are very isolated and very lonely. So it's not like I'm saying sympathy for that. That is the reality because of the numbers, because of the situation, because of the time, and all this sort of stuff. So so naturally that is just the reality. But that is why so many go to stick with the earth and with the dark beings and with the possession and all these things that I haven't explained very well, but that is why they go with them and stick with them, because it appears to be the only choice in some ways. Of course, it's not the only choice, but it is, you know, it's what is there. To make any other choice really is, yes, going out on that limb, and you are frightened and you do think that the branch will break underneath you. And you're not confident that it's not a real branch and that you won't fall and come crashing to your doom. You're not confident that it's all false and that you can't fall or crash because you're consumed by the matrix and its false material reality. You know, oh, geez, I jumped out of my skin then, and I think perhaps that means I better go. Because, yeah, I'll finish the video later.